Tonight, breaking news involving Donald Trump. His lawyers telling the court he doesn't have the money. New video tonight of that missing college student, and you'll see it. The freeze warnings tonight, several states. First, Donald Trump's lawyers tonight saying he cannot obtain a $464 million bond after the civil fraud judgment against him in New York. His legal team says Trump was rejected by more than 30 insurance companies. Could New York's Attorney General seize some of Trump's properties? Aaron Katersky with new reporting. The deadly violence during spring break on multiple beaches in Florida. On one beach, a young man with a gun on a crowded beach. What police can be heard saying to him. Late today, President Biden on the phone with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu with a blunt warning for the Prime Minister. Matt Gutman on what was said. The race for the White House tonight. Donald Trump warning of a, quote, bloodbath if he loses the election. Tonight, his campaign on what he meant by that. The Biden campaign pointing to January 6th. The country and the world seeing what can happen amid dangerous rhetoric. Our team inside Haiti with Americans stranded in Haiti, some being airlifted back to the U.S., many more still trapped. And Matt Rivers inside Haiti tonight. This evening, the missing college student and this newly released body camera video showing him walking by a police officer just moments before he disappeared in Nashville, and authorities discovering a new clue. Tonight, the new message from the CEO of United Airlines after a string of alarming incidents on United flights. From that flight skidding off the taxiway to another plane losing a tire just after takeoff. Tonight, the deep freeze sweeping across the U.S. for the first day of spring. Frost and freeze alerts across multiple states and what to expect. At the White House, the Kennedy family photo with President Biden. Notably not in it, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. running for president himself. What members of his own family are saying about his campaign. Freeze returned to TV on ABC tonight, and her message about weight loss and the popular drugs being used to fight it, including Ozempic. What Oprah is saying right here. Also, the two giant jackpots growing tonight. What are they now worth, and when to make sure you get that ticket?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Monday night. We do begin tonight with Donald Trump. Tonight, Trump's lawyers revealing he doesn't have the money, telling the court Trump is unable to secure a bond for $464 million after the civil fraud judgment against him in New York, saying Trump is facing, quote, insurmountable difficulties, claiming 30 insurance companies were unwilling to underwrite the bond. Tonight, New York State Attorney General Letitia James signaling she will try to seize some of Trump's properties if he's unable to pay the judgment. ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky leading us off.
Wow. He has long promoted himself a billionaire.
I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second.
But tonight, Donald Trump telling a New York appeals court he cannot cover the $464 million bond he must post 1 week from today as he appeals the civil fraud judgment against him. Trump's lawyers saying they face insurmountable difficulties. They approached more than 30 insurance companies for help and were rejected by each one. The main reason? Trump does not have enough cash, and the insurance companies were unwilling to accept his real estate assets as collateral. Trump and his eldest sons were found liable for fraudulently inflating the value of their real estate to get favorable bank loans. If Trump does not secure a bond by next week, New York Attorney General Letitia James can ask the court to seize his properties, which she told me she is willing to do.
You're prepared to have the state move to seize Trump's assets?
We are prepared to make sure that the judgment is paid to New Yorkers.
There's also the possibility that Trump could put his buildings up for sale now to raise quick cash, but his lawyers say that kind of fire sale would result in irrecoverable losses if his appeal succeeds. So bottom line, Trump wants the court to let him post a smaller bond. His lawyers say securing anything close to $464 million is a practical impossibility.
There's no telling when the appeals court may rule, but David, if Trump is unable to post a bond, the attorney general could begin to take ownership of Trump's properties. We're not sure that means padlocks and stickers on the door, but she told us she is determined to make sure Trump pays.
Hard to know what to expect. In the meantime, Aaron, the other breaking headline, there's also news in one of the criminal cases against Donald Trump tonight, the hush money trial scheduled to get underway next month. And we learned tonight that key witnesses and a piece of video that the country will remember will be allowed in this upcoming trial.
David, the judge just ruled that 2 key witnesses will be allowed to testify: the recipient of the hush money, porn actress Stormy Daniels, and Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen. The judge will also allow the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to refer to the Access Hollywood tape, the one on which Trump explains how he grabbed women. David?
Aaron Katersky leading us off here on a Monday night. Aaron, thank you. In the meantime, we're going to turn now to authorities trying to crack down on the deadly violence during spring break on multiple beaches in Florida. On one beach, a young man pulling out a gun in a crowded area. You can hear what police say to him. And in another incident, police searching for multiple suspects after one person was shot and killed, 3 others wounded during separate incidents in Jacksonville Beach. People running for cover. ABC's Victor Oquendo from Florida tonight.
Tonight, authorities in Florida grappling with spring break violence, vowing to crack down on rowdy partygoers. In Jacksonville Beach, gunfire erupting overnight, sending people running.
This is Players Weekend, it's St. Patrick's Day, it's spring break, so the fact that we had a couple of bad actors out here is extremely tragic.
Authorities investigating 3 separate shootings that left one 21-year-old man dead and 3 people shot. 2 suspects among the injured, several suspects still on the loose. And in New Smyrna Beach, northeast of Orlando, Thursday,
drop the gun! Hey!
Police seen chasing 16-year-old Felixander Solis Guzman, who is being charged as an adult for brandishing a firearm on a crowded beach. Authorities say the teen started running towards the ocean, throwing down the weapon and his bag, which deputies say contained marijuana. And after last year's deadly violence during Miami Beach's spring break, this month officials enforcing an emergency curfew and additional safety measures. Those strict measures are working. Business owners here on Miami Beach tell me this year has been smoother and safer than years past. David?
Victor Oquendo from Florida. Victor, thank you. There is late word tonight of a phone call between President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The president with a blunt warning for the prime minister. Matt Gutman from Israel tonight with what was said.
Tonight, President Biden with a blunt warning to Israel about its impending offensive into southern Gaza. Speaking with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu amid a deepening rift for the first time in 32 days, the president warned any military operation in Rafah where 1.5 million are seeking shelter would be a mistake.
The key goals Israel wants to achieve in Rafah can be done by other means.
It comes as Israel launched that operation inside Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa. What they say started as a high-precision operation in the middle of the night, but became a battle. Explosions and gunfire lasting for hours.
Senior Hamas terrorists have regrouped inside the Shifa hospital and are using it to command attacks against Israel.
The IDF saying at least 20 gunmen were killed and about 200 men detained. It was the first raid into the hospital complex since November, when the IDF took us to see the tunnels beneath the hospital's largest building. Thousands of displaced Palestinians have been sheltering there. That fighting happening in northern Gaza, where the UN now projects famine for about 300,000 people anytime from now to May.
There's a very small window in order to possibly stave off this famine.
We're talking days. Every day, children are dying. Today, maybe it is, tens and 20s and 30s. Tomorrow it would be hundreds, and then it would be thousands.
And David, back to President Biden's call with Netanyahu. The two agreed that Israel would send a military delegation to Washington to hear an alternative approach to Israel's offensive in Gaza. And David, the White House says it would be increasingly unlikely that Israel would begin that offensive before hearing from Washington first.
All right, Matt Gutman in Jerusalem with late reporting. Matt, thank you. Back here at home tonight into the race for the White House on the campaign trail, Donald Trump warning of a, quote, bloodbath if he loses the election. Tonight, his campaign and what Trump meant by that. The Biden campaign pointing to January 6th, the country and the world seeing what can happen amid dangerous rhetoric. And the moment Trump played the national anthem to honor those who are behind bars for January 6th. Here's John Carl.
Today, Donald Trump is defending comments he made at a rally in Ohio warning of a, quote, bloodbath if he doesn't win the presidential election in November. Trump made the comment as he was talking about the auto industry, vowing to impose 100% tariffs on some imported cars.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars if I get elected. Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
Today, Trump insisted he wasn't talking about political violence at all, saying, quote, "I was simply referring to imports allowed by crooked Joe Biden, which are killing the automobile industry." But the world saw what happened the last time Trump lost a presidential election, as Trump's supporters violently attacked the Capitol on January 6th. And in Ohio, Trump paid tribute to those arrested for their actions on that day.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
He saluted during a rendition of the national anthem that was recorded by people in prison for what they did on January 6th. Trump called those now serving prison sentences hostages and patriots, suggesting he'd pardon them as soon as he gets back into office. Today, the Biden campaign condemned Trump's prediction of a bloodbath, accusing him of having an affection for violence and a thirst for revenge, and alleging Trump wants another January 6th. Not long after Trump paid tribute to the people who attacked the Capitol as, quote, unbelievable patriots, he posted multiple statements calling for Liz Cheney and other members of the January 6th committee to be prosecuted and sent to jail. In other words, David, Trump wants to pardon those who attacked the Capitol, and he wants to prosecute those who investigated his actions on January 6th.
John Carl covering the campaign for us. John, thank you. Tonight, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts denying former Trump advisor Peter Navarro's last-ditch emergency request to try to remain out of prison. Navarro will now report to prison in Miami tomorrow as scheduled. Navarro will serve a 4-month sentence for contempt of Congress for refusing to cooperate with the January 6th Commission. Now to the dangerous crisis continuing to unfold in Haiti. Our team on the ground in Port-au-Prince, with Americans stranded in Haiti, some being airlifted back to the U.S., many more still trapped, what our Matt Rivers has already witnessed.
Tonight, with Americans desperate to escape the gang warfare in Haiti, we fly to Port-au-Prince, the epicenter of the violence.
The only relatively safe way to get into Port-au-Prince right now is on helicopters like this one. It's so flying right now because Port-au-Prince is a war zone.
And as we land, it doesn't take long before we witness the horror so many have endured here for weeks. The charred remains of cars, of businesses all around us. And not far away, the bodies of at least 13 people riddled with bullets left to die on the streets. Crews collecting the dead today. No one is safe. For many, there's no food. Hospitals abandoned.
This is one of the main hospitals in Port-au-Prince. It's now completely closed. It was looted during some of this fighting. And just look at the destruction here in downtown Port-au-Prince. This is the aftermath more than a week later of this massive battle that took place between the gangs and the police.
Doctors saying without care, many are dying in their homes.
Have you ever seen a situation quite so bad in Haiti?
Jamais, jamais. Tonight, nearly 1,000 Americans asking for help. The State Department airlifting dozens out of the country Sunday, that first U.S. chartered flight landing in Miami. But the vast majority still stuck, like Richard Lubeck, who told me of his daughter's worry.
At the first few days, I didn't tell him what's going on. But then when things started happening, I said, well, I better come clean. They're seeing everything on the news, the bad stuff.
David, what I have reported from Port-au-Prince many a times over the years, but what I saw today truly did shock me. Entire sections of this capital city completely decimated by this violence. David?
Well, we're grateful you're there, and please, you and the team, stay safe. Matt Rivers in Haiti for us tonight. Thank you, Matt. To Russia tonight, and Vladimir Putin claiming victory in the presidential election there, the U.S. and Western allies calling it a sham. Putin with no serious opposition, receiving nearly 90% of the vote, securing another 6 more years in office, putting him in power for a 5th term and counting. He has led Russia as president or prime minister since December of 1999. On Sunday, for the first time, he addressed the prison death of his biggest rival, Alexei Navalny. Putin claiming he supported releasing Navalny as part of a prisoner exchange. That was just days before Navalny died, he claims. Back here in the U.S. tonight, and to the missing college student, and to the newly released body camera video showing him walking by a police officer just moments before he disappeared in Nashville, and authorities discovering a new clue in this case. Here's ABC's Faith Abube now.
Tonight, Nashville police releasing the last known video of missing college student Riley Strain, who vanished 10 days ago while on a fraternity trip.
We want to ask anybody if they know anything to
to please share it.
The 22-year-old from the University of Missouri disappeared shortly after he was escorted out of this Nashville bar owned by singer Luke Bryan. The bar saying Riley was served one alcoholic drink, but was asked to leave, quote, based on our conduct standards. The 6'5" senior then seen on surveillance video walking down a street, then stumbling across a parking lot. But tonight, newly released body camera footage showing Riley minutes later in a friendly exchange with a police officer in the neighborhood.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Just yesterday, 2 TikTokers who had been helping in the search for Riley discovering his bank card by the river.
You found his credit card? We found his credit card. We gotta hang up.
She flipped it over and saw his name and she was like, oh my God, I found his card.
Tonight, investigators searching on foot, by air, and scouring the river using sonar equipment. And David, tonight police say they have no evidence of foul play. David.
All right, Faith, thanks so much. Faith Abube tonight. This evening, the CEO of United Airlines out with a message to customers following a series of incidents in just about a week's time. CEO Scott Kirby vowing to keep passengers safe, saying, quote, safety is our highest priority and is at the center of everything we do. His message comes after United plane skidded off the taxiway in Houston, another plane landing with a panel missing from the fuselage, another United passenger losing a tire just after takeoff. When we come back on this Monday night, the Kennedy family photo at the White House with President Biden and the Kennedy member missing. RFK Jr., who's running for president, what some in his own family are saying about the campaign. Tonight, the freeze warnings, even with spring starting tomorrow. Much of the country in a deep freeze. Major cities, Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, waking up to temperatures in the 30s, 20s further north. Frost and freeze alerts from Texas over to the Carolinas. Members of the Kennedy family visiting the White House, meeting with President Biden on St. Patrick's Day. Robert Kennedy Jr. not among them. Carrie Kennedy posting this photo with President Biden and members of her family. Her brother, RFK Jr., challenging Biden, running as an independent. Some in his own family calling the campaign dangerous, in their words. The campaign facing an uphill battle, only on the ballot in one state, Utah, so far. Others remain concerned how an independent run could affect a very close Biden-Trump rematch. When we come back here tonight, Oprah on ABC tonight, and her message already about weight loss, Ozempic, and the fight that so many face. Oprah, meantime, back on ABC tonight with her message after revealing she's using medication for weight loss. Winfrey saying she wants people to understand obesity is a disease. She wants to help them, bringing together medical experts, hoping to ease the shame and the judgment. She calls it a, quote, very personal topic for me and for the hundreds of millions of people impacted around the globe who have for years struggled with weight and obesity. Oprah's special, Shame, Blame, and the Weight Loss Revolution, a short time from now, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on ABC. The massive Powerball and Mega Millions jackpots. Tonight's Powerball drawing hitting an estimated $645 million, and tomorrow's Mega Millions jackpot now up to $875 million. Good luck. When we come back here tonight, the first grader, her voice, even Beyonce taking note. Tonight, the surprise from Beyonce. Funny tonight here, the first grader and her voice. Tonight, just listen to 7-year-old Zoe Ariana Cui. Zoe is a first grader from Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. She's been learning songs and then sharing them online. Just listen to Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire.
This girl is on fire.
Zoe's latest, Beyonce's new country song, Texas Hold'em. Zoe first hearing it on the radio, then practicing at home.
Nice job.
Then the surprise Zoe did not see coming.
Your rendition of Texas Hold'em brought me so much joy. You are brilliant. Please keep it up. All my love, Beyonce.
The flowers and the letter from Beyonce. And right here tonight,
Hello, David.
Zoe and her message.
Follow your passion and dreams and use the beautiful gifts that you were born with.
We love it. Thanks, Zoe. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.